Welcome to the Contrarians, where we are right and you are wrong. I'm Julio.
And I'm Alex. Here on the show, we rage against the Rotten Tomatoes machine. For the first half of each episode, Contrarians Corner, we trash the fresh red tomatoes and praise the rotten green splotches, making our case any way we can.
The aptly titled Real Talk serves as the second half of each episode. This is where we discuss our true feelings on the movie we're covering. For more information on our podcast and to browse past episodes, you can head over to our website, wearethecontrarians.com.
From there, you can also access our Patreon and merchandise, because capitalism.
If you enjoy our attempts at comedic film discussions, we encourage you to subscribe and leave us a review on whatever podcatcher you use.
If you'd like to reach out to us directly, that's what social media is for. You can find us on most platforms as @ContrarianPrime.
You can also see what we look like if you go to youtube.com/@ContrarianPrime, and you can contact us by email at wearethecontrarians@gmail.com.
I think that covers it.
Then it's time for the podcast. And we are recording for Contrarians Corner for Romance, or Romance X, as it said on my Tubi screen. What did yours say, Alex?
I know the name of the movie is Romance. I might have missed the X in the opening credits. The poster is Romance X because there's a big red X over our main character's vagina. We're grown-ups, we can say it. Did you bring...
It is a scientific term.
Did you bring some extra recording equipment? Maybe some extra microphone wire, Julio? Are we going to learn new things about each other tonight on this recording and bind each other? Or I guess we're remote recording this so we could just watch each other get tied up and record from that position. I mean, Marie in this movie learns new things about herself through that. So, don't knock it till you try it.
That is kind of a Contrarian's motto, like a rallying cry. We always say, Contrarians don't kink shame.
It's true. But we are here today to continue on in the summer adventure of From the Bedroom to the Box Office, B2B as we've dubbed it, and today to talk about a 1999 French art house film. And I mean, art house it's spelled all caps with spaces in between the letters. That is how this the description of this movie is, the genre is defined. Written and directed by Catherine, and I'm going to go ahead and apologize with some of these European names. I think myself and Julio are likely to butcher a few of them. But Catherine Breillat, in her own right, a fairly accomplished filmmaker, been in the industry since the 70s. And this was a movie that garnered some attention for her on the the independent and awards circuit of the late 90s. Julio, I invite you to consider this movie came out the same year as The Matrix. Imagine the mind of the person that did a double feature of The Matrix and Romance.
Exploring new frontiers, left and right.
Both in this world and an unknown one. That is absolutely correct. If this is your first episode tuning in the B2B series, the gimmick behind this, the summer adventure, is we're exploring films featuring the attempts of pornographic actors to make the jump into mainstream filmmaking. Now, in our previous episode, I got a little loosey-goosey with the rules, but we still had a good time with the Running Man. But part of it is that Julio, with this one, I think it might be a little apparent. But
dude, this is just the past 3 episodes were just not even a warm-up. They were just, I don't know, like the pre-show.
Chips and salsa.
Yeah. This is where we were headed all along, and yet I was not prepared. And after this, I kind of feel like it has to be downhill, like at least as far as how graphic things can get.
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't know how much, but I knew there was some explicit material in this movie, and I tried to put it kind of dead center because, we've been on the incline. In our descent, we're going to go Steven Soderbergh, PTA, Orson Welles. And yeah, to spoil, there's not anything quite as graphic or titillating as in this. But as I was going to stress, with these, Julio isn't exactly sure who the pornographic actor or actress is. In this one, it could be anybody,
Yeah.
So
even the kinky professor.
Yeah. who was it Grace Kelly that he said he hooked up with?
I thought that's what he meant. The subtitle said Grace Deli with a D.
Yeah, that I saw that, but it seemed as though just from following a few words throughout it that there may have been some lost in translation because some of the sentences just straight up didn't make sense.
Well, I just chalked that up to them being French.
Well, I don't know. Maybe
Lost in lust. Grace Deli might be the French Grace Kelly.
Okay, the only thing I'm able to find immediately on a Google result is a very tongue-in-cheek. I guess it was Grace Deli that was mentioned in this, and maybe it was just so they didn't use her real name. I don't know. Experts, scholars of the film romance, and those who speak French, let us know if he actually refers to her as Grace Kelly or Deli in an attempt to circumvent any lawsuits.
The real Grace Kelly would never give that guy the time of the day.
She would also never watch this movie. Where are all the musical numbers? Where's the dancing? Okay, so we covered the players here. Released in France in April of 1999. Jesus, that was 27 years ago. Budget of $2.7 million. A box office return of 3.9. It made a little splash in its time. Julio, I was racking my brain repeatedly over and over again. The trailer for this movie was on something I watched on VHS repeatedly in my youth. I didn't remember it. It had to have maybe been like a UFC tape or something Miramax. One of those, home video circulations that would play trailers for like kind of just off the wall or artistic shit. And I know like I wasn't trying to make anyone laugh with the UFC thing. The original UFC VHSs had just like graphic movies would advertise on them because they just knew the people watching them were just there for blood and violence and anything gratuitous. That means they'd probably fire up to see some boobs too. So, but I was watching this and there was a couple shots. I was like, okay, I saw a trailer and then I start picturing it in my head and it was like the Springs Award thriller romance. So I had the vaguest, most slight knowledge of this outside of our subject and why we're here. But aside from that, I was not prepared for what would come in the 99 minutes that followed. Julio, I believe your knowledge of this movie is even less than that.
Even less than that, I was not. I wish I was aware that this was something that had been promoted to UFC fans.
Maybe.
Because
I'll find what it was, but yes.
That would have colored my experience a little bit, at least at the beginning. No, all I knew was that there was one or more adult actors in the movie. I knew it was pretty explicit because you had warned me not to watch it at work, which, sometimes, depending on how much of a time crunch we're on, I'll use my lunch break at work to at least try to get ahead on the movies. Good call, not doing that in this case.
I work remote, and at the end of my workday, as I was wrapping up some work, I started it on my big monitor, and then it just got to a part. I was like, I shouldn't even be watching this on my work computer, even though I work remote. Like I was like, all right, let's X out of this incognito window.
I ended up watching it last night, and obviously my wife was already asleep, but I was like, if she woke up and walked in on me watching this, I would have some explaining to do, and saying that it's for the show might not take care of it right away.
That scene at the end of Marie's like fantasy, if Kelly had walked in during that, then she would have called me and be like, all right, Julio says he's watching this for the show.
No, but baby, it's French. It's art.
Yeah, exactly.
Voilà, tout passe dans ton regard. Attends. À 3, il faut que tu te lèves sur la pointe des pieds et tu me regardes fixement. OK? On est prêt? 1.
It really, we joke, but the Frenchness of it makes it a little respectable as opposed to if we're watching just random Americans going through this.
It's
but
true.
I don't know, Alex, I guess you'll tell me at some point who the porn actor or actress is and whether any of the people in this movie had careers before this movie, maybe even after. Because, the Contrarians, we're not strangers to sexy movies. We cover Crash. We covered Blue is the Warmest Color.
Mm-hmm.
In both instances, those are familiar faces, forward and backwards and from those movies. So that is certainly a type of experience. Another one is when you're watching a bunch of French people that you don't know, and they go all out.
Yeah, and it softens the blow a little bit when, the first shot of the movie is, or one of the first shots of the movie is our lead female in a white room wearing all white over a white sink using a white toothbrush to, brush your teeth. It lets you know you're in for some artistry here, all right? Get out the smallest pair of glasses you have and put them on the end of your nose.
You better put that smartphone down.
I cannot begin to fathom the film bro, the prototypical film bro of the 90s, the late 90s. They're like really pretentious read on this and talking about how it was better than The Matrix and Blair Witch Project and shit like that.
Yeah, but have you heard of Romance?
Yes. Have you seen Romance? The latest from Caroline Doucet. So, Julio typically falls within our gray area, but we'll be treating this one as rotten today at 49% on Rotten Tomatoes. It is rotten. It's a nasty green splotch. So in the first half here, we'll be pointing out, as we already had, the artistic merit that is housed in Romance. With that being said, Julio, which quotes did you pull for us?
Worth noting, 45% on Popcorn Meter. So those UFC fans, they resented the bait and switch. But these are critics. I'm going to start with Chris Grundon from Film Journal International, who says, Romance is explicit, but not titillating. I mean, that's not a problem. Do you think this movie tries to titillate?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Chris, it could even be reprehensible, I think, if it was trying to titillate. This is a kind of a cautionary tale.
If I dare say, Julio, I think it's using its gratuitous amount of sex to be not sexy.
Mind blown. Neil.
Y'all can't see it right now, but Julio is pouring a glass of wine and has a baguette sitting next to him.
I'm just like swirling it.
Yes, there you go.
For the next quote. Dennis Schwartz from Dennis Schwartz Movie Reviews says, the film wavers between being a philosophical treatise on women and one about a woman's passions. It can be both. It can be about women and it can be about this specific woman.
Mm-hmm.
Just like it, in a way, it's about all men, I think.
Sure.
Hashtag all men. And then we're going to close with Cole Smythe from colesmythe.com, who says, porn has never been so sleep-inducing. The joke's on you, Cole, because this is not porn. It's art.
And that separation plays into some of our discussion points that will be specific to our main actress here. We'll talk about that in the second half, though. There's a whole bunch to cover in Real Talk, as you could imagine, with a movie like this, Julio. So as we get into it, when I was preparing for it, before I watched the movie, I pulled up the Wikipedia page, and I didn't really necessarily read the premise, but I was just kind of scrolling for little things in the production and the areas to maybe keep an eye out for. And then I did see the plot though, and I counted. It's like, oh, it's only 4 paragraphs. This is whoever wrote this must have just done like a really vague overview. And to spoil it, this movie is plot-wise not the richest. If you're not a dialogue fan, you might be in the wrong place. But Julio, fortunately, you and I are both sophisticated film connoisseurs, so this is made for people like you and I.
We can appreciate a good conversation about sex.
Sex! It's still sex!
Marie, a school teacher, is in a romantic relationship with Paul, but is disappointed with his comparative lack of interest in sexual activity. So Marie, the aforementioned Caroline Doucet, Ducey sounds so American, so I'm just going to guess it's Doucet, Ducey. And then Paul Sagamore Stevenen. Julio, we're less than 15 minutes into this. And as we meet our two main characters, both named Marie and Paul, I think we just need to go ahead and call it. This is going to win the Lancaster Dodd for white people shit.
Literally. I mean, you already described the bathroom with the white walls and the white toothbrush. But yeah, one of my notes is like, oh, so much white.
Including this fella here.
Yeah. The plight of the man who's tired of sex.
His girlfriend in the beginning here attempts to perform oral sex on him, and he just kind of stops her and seems just very bored by her. Julio, it's the John Wayne thing comes to mind of, well, then there would be a movie. You think of this girl here, like, in that situation, just saying, fuck you, I'm going to go find my own adventure then, which in a way she does.
More than one way.
Yes.
In several ways she does.
But she does that whilst staying in her relationship with Paul here. And I think what I took away from it is that's kind of the whole story of Marie is she's keeping Paul at distance because she doesn't know what she wants yet. But whatever the case, high stakes early. We get oral sex in the first 5 minutes of the movie being refuted by the male lead.
I'll do you one better because I wrote it down. 11 minutes and 30 seconds, you actually see a penis. Full frontal. Is it full frontal? It's more like side.
Yeah.
Sideways profile.
You got a profile view.
That's the moment where I knew, okay, so we mean business in this movie.
So sex aside, this whole movie is very, very dry. No pun intended. But obviously intentionally so. But I want to start off here with our two main characters, Julio, Marie, and Paul, Caroline, and Sagamore. What do you think of their chemistry? Because at times it seemed really disinterested. I was disinterested by it. But the way it kind of culminates, and we'll get to that eventually, but I think it's kind of worth it for the really muted conversations they have early on.
Well, I think he's awful.
Yeah, real shitbag.
Yeah. And you said sex aside. And so even if you remove the sexual component, you can just see it as, the sex is symbolic. And, these French people with their analogies and their symbolism, but it's really the story of a woman who's in love with somebody who doesn't love her the way that she does love him. So there's an imbalance there. And yes, the movie presents it as, she wants to have sex with him, he doesn't want to have sex with her, but she can't quit him. She is it Heath Ledger in Brokeback Mountain? He's the one that says, I wish I could quit you, right?
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Yeah. So she wishes, but she can't. So even though she'll go on to cheat on him with different people, in the end, she keeps telling us through her voiceover that it's just, she can't move past it. She hates the fact that he won't have sex with her, but she loves him, and she just can't stay away. And that is universal. We've talked in so many episodes about so many movies where that is one of the key conflicts. Somebody is in love with somebody that doesn't love them back, or somebody that's bad for them. And that is this, whether it's the sex component is there or not. It's just a woman that is in love with the wrong guy, and she can't leave him, and she can't figure out how to fix it. Now, once you start getting spicy, obviously she has very specific desires, rather very broad desires that complicate things a lot. But bottom line, I find the conflict relatable. I didn't care for the relationship itself, but I thought that it was, who hasn't fallen in love with the wrong person here and there?
Amen, brother.
Now, you know how you know that this guy's the worst even before he refuses oral sex?
How's that?
Because he's wearing his watch to bed. Please, Alex, tell me you take your watch off before you get in bed.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even catch that. Jesus, what a monster. If I wake up with my watch still on, I go, Jesus Christ, I drank a lot last night.
Yes. Embarrassed. We see him under the covers all the time, so I can't tell for sure, but I bet you he's wearing socks.
Je t'ai dit que c'était toujours comme ça. Avec les autres, ça dure une semaine. Puis ensuite 6 mois sans rien faire.
C'est vrai?
Oui.
One morning, Marie drives to a bar where she meets Paolo, and the two later have sex. So she meets Paolo, who in this is played by Rocco Siffredi, who I noted got the "and" credit, which et Rocco Siffredi. And he is just a random bar patron. I mean, Julio, all these characters, you could argue they were one note or very just perfunctory, not layered, not deep. They all just exist for one particular thing. But man, he's got to be the most handsome NPC we've come across in 400 movies that we've covered on this. No wonder she's like, hey, come on over. But then they have this really banal conversation. He just says, my girlfriend's dead. And she's like, well, I'm married. And then cuts to them like, they're not even making out in the car. They're literally just necking. Like he's kissing her neck, but she won't kiss him back. That's part of like her rules is she won't kiss the people she engages with. And it's not even first. They basically spend some. It's just kind of a tryst at the bar, and then they reconnect later, right? That's when they end up having sex.
Yeah, she tells him to write his phone number. She doesn't give him her phone number. Instead, she takes his phone number. And he's like, will you call me? She has all the power here. Yeah, my note says lightweight cheating. Little kisses on the neck and some dry humping in the car.
Well, when they get down to it, there's nothing light about that.
Well, yeah, but that's after. The first time is just, I mean, it's still cheating, don't get me wrong, but my thought was, you guys are adults. Why are you acting like you're teenagers staying past curfew?
They're out at like Lover's Lane or some shit, the hill looking over the town.
This girl, Marie, she takes her gum out before they start kissing. The guy fumbles looking for his one condom.
In his wallet, yeah.
But I get it, because there has to be an escalation, and boy, does this movie escalate when it comes to the sexual encounters. So, having seen the entire thing, when you look back at her first foray into cheating on her boyfriend, this is kind of funny just to see how innocent it is. And of course, it progresses in a way that's, I like to think I'm pretty open-minded, but where this movie goes, it rattled me at times. And I don't know if that was just me. I guess I look forward to hearing how you feel about her future sexual encounters. But yeah, this guy, he just seems like a regular dude. Like, this is the probably the most normal guy that she hooks up with in the movie.
Yeah.
Because her boyfriend is an asshole, and then, the people that come later are, they're worse.
Well, he's normal. He's got one abnormality that I don't think he's too bummed about, but it's somewhere around this point. It's before the actual sex scene between the two of them, between Paulo and Marie. I mentioned it in opening up when explaining the premise of this movie, but it's revealed somewhere around this point in time that Marie is a school teacher because she's late to class. Julio, do you think they didn't get enough out of the school teacher idea, or do you think? I mean, personally, for me, it's all you need, like the two scenes of her teaching at the school to let you know that, like, it can be anybody. Because especially in the 90s, it's still to this day too, the idea of how, like, idolized and people. I remember when I was a kid, in 1999, I would never have thought like teachers have a life outside of school. Like, they don't exist. They just kind of
certainly not a sex life.
No, they go into a cryo chamber after class is over, and then they just wake up the next day. And so, but yeah, my question is, do you think they could have gotten more out of it, or do you think that it's just enough to make you like think of like it can be anybody?
Well, if this movie was more traditional, maybe less French, then yes, you would spend more time in her workplace, and maybe you get to meet. Like, does she have anybody else in her life? But this movie is obsessed, it's laser focused on the sexual aspect of her existence. And so this is just about who she's hooking up with. And the fact that she's a teacher, I think it's there, one, because it's kind of a fun reveal. Like, I didn't know anything. So, of course, when she shows up, I know it's like, of course, she's a kid's teacher, LOL. But then through that, is that we get to meet, she gets to hook up with somebody else later in the movie. So, and I think it's kind of fun that also she's a bad teacher. We find out later she can't spell. Yeah. So it's good. I mean, I'm not saying that I needed it. It probably would have made the movie easier to watch if you had more, in quotation marks, normal stuff throughout the movie. But that's not what this movie's about. I mean, this movie's about just, okay, how much more sexual stuff can we put in there? So, I think it's just, we got just enough. It's like a pinch of the school environment.
And amping up the sex they do, as you mentioned, the headmaster of the school, Roberto, is who we meet, and he pulls her in to his office for a discussion. That's when she discusses she has I think she says shit spelling is the phrase that she uses, and then surmises that she might be dyslexic. And I would say they share a laugh, but she laughs about it. And then it cuts to him, and he's just like complete stone face. Like, I don't find any humor in this. We're shaping young lives out here, God damn it.
Did you were you waiting for him to go like, is there Mr. Gump, Mrs. Gump?
Well, you're really gonna have to earn this job back, Can you spell sex? But they end up going to his house, and he has like relatively speaking, for like a fucking elementary school principal, a mansion that he lives in. And he talks about, the hot tub that he has and the new Japanese flat screen TV or whatever. And he's just living like this complete life of luxury.
More importantly, Alex, he says that he's had sex with 10,000 women.
Unprompted, pretty much.
And he says it more than once.
Yes, he's going back to that talking point, which, Hulk Hogan's been in a lot of headlines recently with the that Netflix documentary that just came out on him. And I'm honestly surprised Hogan never spun that yarn and said, brother, there were 10,000 Hulkamaniacs in my lifetime. Scott Steiner was a professional wrestler that alleged he had sex with 10,000 women. I believe Gene Simmons estimated somewhere around that same point as well.
That just sounds exhausting, dude.
Yes. Yeah. And even the math would tell you, like, there has to be multiple women on, like, every day. And to your point, yeah, when you're maybe like 22 and you hear that, you're like, hell yeah. But at fucking 38, Julio, that just sounds like no way to live.
It's like,
no wonder this guy's alone.
Yes. He doesn't have time to do anything else. It's like having sex and then recovering. Just getting ready for the next one.
They should have shown he has like a fucking a cold plunge tank that he just uses once a day.
Just his when you actually get to see his penis, it's all bruised.
Yeah, all beat up. It's like an old catcher's mitt. Yeah.
It has character.
It looks like Jabba the Hutt's tongue. It's just all beaten and smashed in.
So what do you make of this guy? Because at first I was like, Jesus Christ, this dude's so gross.
Yeah.
But then, dare I say, he ends up being the most sympathetic character by the end of the movie?
De la vodka. Monsieur, s'il vous plaît. Oui, on peut avoir de la vodka aussi. Merci.
It's an interesting set of feelings to process as a viewer, because by the end of the movie, you're right, he seems to be the one who like cares about her, and then you can start to go back and read the scenes that we do watch as just like coming from a place of intense passion as opposed to just being weird. Because again, contrarians don't kink shame, and to let y'all know what we're talking about.
He just wants to have fun.
What happens is specifically 2 very elongated scenes of BDSM between the 2 of these folks, grown consenting adults. And that's the whole thing. What happens here is that after, talking and kind of warming up to one another, he begins tying her up, and she eventually asks him to stop, and he does stop immediately.
And then he's worried. Which
exactly.
Is what humanizes him.
Like, it is a strange scene, right? Because you're like, oh, this is just fucking Zed from Pulp Fiction. It's just like the Gimp. We're just being weird just for the sake of being weird. But then when she's like, stop, because he checks on her, he does. And then she's like clearly upset, and he just like comforts her, and he's like apologizing. He's like, I thought you were enjoying this, and just let me know what I can do to help you. And then she kind of explains that she had fantasized about it and was kind of enjoying it, but it was overwhelming to her. So it's this scene that I wouldn't say necessarily at any point in time, Julio, it's sexy. It's more of just like a human interest piece. You're just kind of watching it. But then it somehow takes this really intense and to some bizarre like moment in the film and then humanizes it deeply.
I was kind of shocked by how my perception of that relationship changed, because at first I was concerned for her welfare through the entire thing, because I thought, okay, this guy is, I did not expect him to respect her wishes. It was like when she says stop, he's not going to stop. And also because of the way he'd been talking, how he wouldn't shut up about, how good of a lover he was and everything. It was, I had him because I couldn't remember his name. So I just said, this is the Manosphere guy. And then my next note says, this guy listens to Joe Rogan. But then he shows his softer side and he's concerned. I was like, oh, it was just all a front.
He's a libertarian.
Yeah. But the nice one of the nice ones. He actually cares. So later in the movie, you see them having fun, just having dinner and talking. And I was like, man, just stay with this guy. Don't go back to the asshole that makes you beg for sex and then doesn't really deliver. What's his name? Paulo? No, Paul.
No, Paulo delivers.
Yeah, Paulo delivers in spades. And in fact, he delivers so well that she's like, I can't see you anymore. But no, Paul, he's like, hey, you can caress me, but we can't go all the way. I was like, dude, how old are you again?
See, that is like one of the words that I thought something was lost in translation, because they keep using the word caress. Like maybe it's like a direct fucking word that was used. And again, if there's any listeners that have seen this and speak French, please verify for us. But the caress was just in the place of like masturbate or jack off or something like that. Maybe the person who was like fucking scripting the subtitles needed to church it up a little bit. Okay, so I was going to save this for real talk, but it's just too good, Julio, and we're having fun here in Contrarians Corner, as much fun as you can have with romance, or romance X, as it's known in some circles. It was around this point in time, and this scene, we talk about tying her up, she's nude, and it's intense, and you don't really know where it's going to go. And you know how Tubi will put up that little, like, ad in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
Yes.
that notice, or ad coming or whatever. I didn't see that because I was just kind of paying attention to her character's emotions.
You're writing the notes.
And so then I don't notice the prompt that the ad's coming. And so we go from this BDSM scene, smash cut, to John Cena in a Hawaiian shirt hawking a credit card for a company called Chime. Or the cash back card or something, but it's John Cena with sunglasses and a Hawaiian shirt and a bullhorn, like spouting the facts about like win back your financial standing, get cash back and all this shit. And it was one of those things I was engaged at that point in the movie because I found like the scene to be pretty interesting, but it took me like maybe 5 seconds to register what had happened, because I was like, did I close the tab? What the fuck happened? Like, it's just John Cena yelling at me about the Chime card.
In English.
Yes. So I apologize to Catherine Breillat. Her film, her artistic attempt at captivating my attention with this sexual thriller will always be slightly sullied by the moment of going from BDSM to John Cena in a Hawaiian shirt talking about getting cash back on all purchases.
I did not get a single Cena commercial. I mean, there were plenty, but I didn't get one of those. I was very aware of the commercials when they were coming out because I was uneasy the entire movie, Alex.
Yeah.
Again, I like to think that I am a well-versed film watcher, that I can kind of like take movies, and it takes a lot to throw me off my game. But in this case, I was like, man, this is going to be the entire time I'm watching it, and I'm thinking this is going to be the weirdest Contrarians episode ever. unless suddenly there's a heist or a plot to assassinate the president. I think this is just about this woman getting laid left and right.
Can you imagine? Like, yeah, they come up with a plan to rob a bank by tricking like the bank owner into BDSM. Like, we'll tie him up. So we go from kind of the interesting to the more macabre, as I believe it's supposed to be that night when she's still reeling from the emotions of this, when she's going to go back home. She does go back home, and she feels, what happens is she feels bad about it. And she assumes that Paul's out with his friends having a good time, but then she catches him at the cafe across the street from like their flat. And she said it's even worse than that. He's just by himself enjoying his time alone. And that like makes her mad. So she then kind of just goes back out on a walk and then encounters this gentleman who offers her money to perform oral sex on her. And that happens. They go to the stairwell in her apartment building, and he's performing cunnilingus on her, and then takes it a bit too far and ends up assaulting her and then just leaving her there. And then almost in like an irreversible moment, he fucking passes Paul coming back in the building on the way out.
Shoulders him. Yeah.
And then she still just waits to go back because she doesn't want to see Paul. So it's a lot to take in, Julio. And if I remember correctly, it's all one shot too. So really unflinching. And look, I'm not going to sit here and say I necessarily liked it, but it's clearly a filmmaker that had a vision for what she wanted to put on screen, and in a pretty uncompromising way did that.
À lui aussi, il m'attend. Quand je rentre la seconde, c'est pas aussi facile. Il est à cran, le petit bonhomme.
I think that there is an audience that experiences the movie very differently from the way I did. Because I think if you are into S&M and if you're into extreme, intense sexual experimentation, that kind of stuff, then maybe so far it's all been, pretty vanilla stuff in the movie. But like I said, I was uneasy the entire time. So
If you've seen Secretary with James Spader, you're okay up until this point.
it's in my notes.
Oh, really?
I haven't seen Secretary, but I was thinking of like, what's like the Hollywood version of this? And from what I've heard, Secretary deals with those.
That's not too far off, actually. It, of course, is nowhere near as explicit as this, but like in theory, that like a French person would see that movie and be like, pussies. That's what they would say about Americans.
You don't see Little Spader in Secretary?
To my recollection, no.
Okay, well. So I think that maybe if you're not uneasy throughout the movie, if so far you've been watching it and you're like, yeah, that's the scene, then maybe this is the moment where it just goes too far and it finally rattles you, this hypothetical person that hasn't been rattled so far, because now it's not consensual at all. It just goes further, and it's ugly, but then she kind of bounces back from it and just goes on about the rest of her life in the movie. And so it's not gratuitous. I feel like there's an intention there that obviously was not for me, because I was already checked out as far as how much further can this movie push me. But you can't deny that. I mean, it's very intentional.
Yes. And yeah, to be clear, when I said it was all one shot, it's pulled away a bit, but you still like see everything. But yeah, it all, like you said, for a movie that up until this point, and definitely for the second half of it, relies on extreme close-ups of some things. It intentional is the right word to describe what happens here.
Well, because the thing is, the entire time you're thinking, how much further can she go? Because clearly she's trying all these things to fill the void in her relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Her boyfriend, the man she loves, is not delivering. He's not even attempting to deliver sexually. And so she's trying to fulfill that in a different way, and nothing is working. I think it's around this time, or maybe soon after, that she talks about maybe being a nymphomaniac, and I couldn't tell if she was just waxing poetic or if she really was coming to the realization that she might be a nymphomaniac.
Yeah, it's right around this time. Yeah. I think it's either during this or when in the next scene, or like after this, what she ends up doing is going to just like laying in bed and just further realizing her contempt for Paul. And so during that, there's a voiceover. It's either during that or in the next scene. I said the second half of the movie. No, we have 30 minutes left in the movie at this point in time, because she goes back to Roberto's lavish apartment or home, wherever it is, and they have another, I guess, session is what they would call it. And at the conclusion of this, Julio, it's exactly what you said. She realizes that she's like fallen for this dude, and there's a shot of them going out to dinner together, and she talks about they just laugh and overeat, and he's like buying her caviar and shit. And at this point in the movie, there's not been many high points or moments where you experience happiness for Marie, but exactly what you said. It's like, all right, I think the decision's pretty clear. You should probably be with this dude. He's making you happy, and everyone else is making you fucking miserable.
So, of course, she's like, nope.
Can't see anymore. But she ends up having sex with Paul finally. And this part of the movie kind of confused me, because she says he accidentally impregnates her. Now, is that supposed to be like the idea of, pre-ejaculate? I remember when I was in high school, that was something they tried to terrify us with.
They drill it into your subconscious.
Yeah.
Not just in America, Alex. I think it's all over the world. We get those cautionary tales.
They say like, oh, it'll happen all the same, which I guess is what happens here. But then there's the line she has about he pulled a Virgin Mary on me or something. Like she implies immaculate conception.
Oh, I thought that she was implying that the immaculate conception was actually just a pre-ejaculate conception.
That's fair. But she ends up getting pregnant is the whole diz here. They end up going in for a checkup. That they learn they're having a baby boy. and they end up having sex again, which they hadn't in months during her pregnancy, but they have sex again, and she does throw in there and for the last time, or it was the first time we've had sex in a long time, and it'll be the last time. During all this, like I said, is a very, very bizarre fantasy that Marie shares that I don't know, could there ever have been anything more French art house than this set piece that they put together of her fantasy?
Imagine Eyes Wide Shut, but French.
More graphic. It's a series of women that are in a room, and their lower half is cut off to another room in which potential male suitors just circle around and choose a woman based on their vagina. Because one of the reoccurring talking points in this is that a vagina is more identifiable or more intimate than a face, I guess is the way you'd say it. They talk about you learn more about a woman from her vagina than her face, is what Roberto basically says at one point in time. So she displays this fantasy of what that would be like if men chose women based on their vagina. And that's like an interesting thing. And then like you blink and it's this massive orgy going on.
You go, oh, you meant literally.
Yeah.
You were not just, it wasn't just a turn of phrase.
Parce qu'une femme pour laquelle on bande, c'est qu'on veut l'enfiler. Vouloir enfiler une femme, c'est la mépriser. L'amour des hommes et des femmes est impossible.
At this point, I hit the little fucking down arrow on my remote. It was like 12 minutes or left in the movie. I was like, what the fuck?
There is a sequence either right before or right after this that is out of a Mel Brooks movie where she is just getting examined by medical students.
Oh my God, you're right. Yeah.
One after the other.
It's like a revolving door. There's like a dozen of them.
Yeah. And then third time her voiceover is just talking about the misery and the ridiculousness, I guess, of her situation and the pregnancy. And I was like, yeah, I guess it's one of those things where I welcome the symbolism in this case, the abstraction of the French, because yes, this is a good representation, I think, of what it's like, what it must be like to be pregnant and just suddenly be this
science
object.
Experiment. Yeah,
exactly. That gets just examined by every single person. And everybody has opinions and everybody has to check and double check, and you kind of lose control of your body. And so, man, point driven. That's and of course it also reinforces the entire vaginal theme that runs through the movie, because these dudes are just going in and out and then move on to the next one. I was like you, Alex, in the sense that I was also checking. I was like, how much longer? Because I don't know where we're going with this. But I had like this relief when I was like, oh, it's only 10 minutes. So no matter what happens, I mean, there's no way that something super horrible happens in 10 minutes. Whatever happens now, it just has to be kind of we're landing the plane. So I definitely did not expect a graphic birth. Did you see that coming?
It was one of the things I read about, and so I was prepared, but not quite ready, Julio. This is like National Geographic shit.
Knocked Up has a shot that is maybe 100th of what this is.
Yes.
Because here the baby comes out. The baby's blue, which I guess that's just how it is usually. Right? They come out and they need the oxygen. That's what European cinema does. And that's what, even after all these years, Hollywood just can't catch up. Who's our most daring filmmaker that would dream of trying to pull something like this off, but they wouldn't because they just can't?
Christopher Nolan on IMAX.
Yes. Very memorable. Perhaps the most memorable shot of the movie.
Yeah, and I haven't been able to confirm this. I read it might have been a Reddit page or something. It was a one-off post that I found that alleged that the footage used was from an actual childbirth, not from the lead actress, of course, but just that they spliced and put into that part of the movie. I don't have that as gospel, but that's something I read. And honestly, with how intense and yeah, I don't know what visual department's making something look that real.
Come a long way from Look Who's Talking To.
Oh, Jesus. The night before this, actually, they go out to the bar because I guess like Paul like showing her off, but he still treats her like shit, dances with another girl in front of her. And the next morning, he gets super drunk, and the next morning she wakes up and she's going into labor, and he's just passed out, and she can't wake him up. And so she, in a bit of a hard left here, Julio just turns on the gas on the stove on all 4 burners and just leaves it on as she takes off, packs a bag, and leaves.
So, did I interpret this right? Does she kill him?
Yes.
Okay, so the funeral that we see at the end, that's him. I mean,
Yes.
I was like, it has to be him. Who else is it going to be?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's fine. Fuck that guy. But does that mean she killed the cat?
Okay. Is there any shot of the cat before this in the movie?
No, it's the first time we've seen the cat.
Okay. Yes.
But then we get a close-up of the cat.
Yes. I do not like that. I'm not even going to pretend in this. Yeah, we learn they have a cat, and then she looks at the cat sleeping peacefully, almost like pensively, like, should I take the cat? And then she doesn't take the cat. So it is an art house film, Julio. Upon new life, another life ends.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, well, cats are well known as pussies.
Oh, wow.
The entire movie has been about her vaginal restlessness.
The vaginal renaissance. Yes.
Yes. She must kill the pussy so the pussy might live again.
I'm not kidding at all. That as soon as the baby exits her vagina from birth, it cuts back to the apartment blowing up where this guy dies. Like, it happens with the quickness of Tyler Durden inserting one splice of porn into film in Fight Club. It just bang, it's over. So he's dead. But the child is born, and Roberto's actually in the delivery room. Yeah.
So maybe a happy ending?
Well, I don't know, because then we go to the funeral or would-be funeral. It's like a fucking steampunk funeral all of a sudden. Like, we have this whole new aesthetic. But Marie is there with her child that we find out she named Paul. And Paul dies in a gas explosion. As his coffin is being lowered into the ground, Marie watches from a distance with the baby in her arms.
The end.
Credits roll.
With a question mark.
The Cannes audience half give it a standing ovation. The other throw tomatoes at the screen.
The Rock looks confused, wondering if the Smashing Machine is gonna, if anybody's even gonna care about the Smashing Machine playing.
He turns to Emily Blunt. What happened?
What happened to the cat?
No shit. But yeah, that was the romance.
If you are listening to the Contrarians for the first time, man, this was a weird one for you to start. You could have just go back one episode. This is Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
It's true. We've had a hoot up until this point in the journey. This is, I think it's a place we had to go, but I have a lot of thoughts on this movie, Julio.
I mean, how could we not have thoughts about this movie?
Thoughts and a lot of interesting tidbits surrounding it. So much to discuss about romance and real talk, Julio. Are we ready to move it along?
Let's go.
My bosom heaves with sobs. I'm in a sexy French depression.